Okay. So today I want to talk about what to do at level 60. And I want to talk about this because some people seem to believe that getting to level 60 is wasting a $40 game, rushing through all the content just to be done and have nothing to do. But for me and for a lot of other level 60s, we see that the game really kind of starts at level 60. Anything before level 60, you really just care about what's getting you pretty good XP. Everything after level 60, for the most part, really has to do with gear score. And you've probably heard about this. I mean, once you hit level 60, you want to think about how to get an advantage on other level 60s, right? If it comes to war, or if it comes to content that may be released even further down the road than right now, or even if it comes to elite areas and elite zones right now that are like on that high level 65 type of areas, you're going to find it's really, really hard for you to do it straight off of level 60. So the reason being is that your gear score is going to be at about 500 by the time you finish the main story quests. So right now you can see my gear score is 492, and that is just the gear of what I'm wearing, the average. But what we're actually looking at when we talk about gear score farming is the quality of drops that you're getting from the mobs you're killing. So for me, a lot of my things right now are around like 510. All right. And there is a effective way to kind of go around different elite zones to grind your gear score from 500 to 510, a different spot to get it up to like 525. And right now, it seems to be about 591 is about the soft cap for farming these elite zones. Whereas like Genesis and Lazarus will get you stuff that is at 600 gear score. The problem is Genesis and Lazarus is pretty hard at 500 gear score for a full team of level 60s, which makes you have to kind of go out of your way to go to some elite zones and get some elite chests to increase your gear score incrementally. On my world currently, there's not a ton of level 60s, which gives me the problem of it's almost impossible to find a team for Genesis and Lazarus that are actually capable. And it's also hard to find people in what I would consider the correct zones for elite farming. Um, I'm gonna do a more in-depth guide uh, in a few days probably that go through the progression of elite farming to get your gear score from 500 to 600. But since the amount of level 60s are so limited on my world, it's hard to find people who are on the same grind as me who are also relatively good at the game, able to keep themselves up and do their jobs really effectively, which made me realize that I have time basically between now and there being more level 60s on my world to do other things. And what I'm really talking about here is your trade skills. So even though, let's see, is there an Arcana station here? So I'm going to show you over here at this workshop area. Even though our soft cap, which is a slow grind up to 591 gear score, is what we're looking at. If we go to some of the crafting areas, all the way to the bottom here, you can see we can actually make gear. Look, 590 bow, 590 musket. So, but if you look at like the ironwood bow, you can see the ironwood bow can actually go all the way up to 600 gear score here, which is reliant on me getting 200 engineering, as well as getting all my boosts as far as like potions and house trophies and all that to almost guarantee a 600 gear score bow. And this goes for anything. So armor, weapons, fire staves, all that type of stuff. You can craft up to 600. So then you kind of wonder, what's the point of grinding up on your own? Well, the point is once you make a 600 gear score item, that doesn't actually increase the loot that you'll be getting as drops. It just makes you stronger. So while other people are kind of farming elite zones, I've seen people farming elite zones like super inefficiently with like 20 or 30 people, which means you're not always getting drops. You're not consistently increasing your gear score. You're only focusing bosses, so you're not killing as many mobs. I decided that I would be more satisfied in general to worry about crafting gear that is around 600. The reason being is if I craft my own gear that can get me to 600 gear score, then I'm able to kind of skip or circumvent some of the gear score farming that I feel like is just kind of inefficient right now. And it allows me to kind of skip ahead and maybe go straight to Genesis and Lazarus Dungeon to get some of those unique 600 gear score items. Now, what I ended up doing is I ended up focusing on a bunch of different things at once, which I highly do not recommend, okay? Because a lot of these resources are going to carry over from one crafting profession to the other. So if you are kind of doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, you get bored of this, so you try that, you end up being in a constant farming situation where you're always going to need more star metal, you're always going to need more wood, you're always going to need more of everything before you're hitting level 200 in that crafting skill. So my biggest recommendation is to really focus on one thing. And if you have other friends, it's going to make this much easier because while I'm focusing on making the best stabs and getting my Arcana to 200, someone else can focus on making the best armor. Someone else can focus on making the best bows. Just choosing different professions so that by the time I get 200 in Arcana, I can basically maybe find 600 gear score from all of my friends or my company together. But unfortunately, I don't really have a team of people who are feeding me resources or are training other skills or being organized in that type of way. So I have been divvying up my skills more than I would like. One thing I would recommend everyone to do, which I had to do recently, was get your furnishing up. The reason is if you're getting any of these skills to 200, you're going to be doing a lot of farming. And in furnishing, once you get to level 75, you're going to start getting trophies. And these trophies you can put into your house to give you worldwide boosts to anything that, corresponds to a trophy in your house. So for example, in my house right now, I have a corrupted combat trophy, which allows me to do more damage to corrupted enemies. And then I have like gathering trophies for harvesting, logging, mining, and I have an Arcana crafting trophy. So these gathering trophies are going to allow me to get more resources out of everything I do. I also want to get the luck trophy, which you unlock at level 100. I don't know why it's not showing here, but you can get a luck trophy, which increases your luck, which is crazy valuable, which I'll have to sub out one of my trophies for that once I get to that level. But then the Arcana crafting trophy is going to give me a boost when I'm crafting Arcana items, so my staves, which is incredibly valuable. So furnishing is really a huge thing that not everyone wants to do it because it's one of the worst grinds, honestly, to level up. But it's something that either you're gonna have to do yourself or you're gonna really want to get a house and to buy these trophies on the market to put them in your house. But so on top of getting your furnishing up to be able to get those trophies, you're gonna need a lot of resources. And what I can recommend is starting to learn some of the resources that are around and start learning routes. So there are routes that I've taken to get thousands and thousands of hemp, thousands and thousands of iron, and thousands of star metal. And now I've been grinding some low level places where I can get orichalcum, because basically all of these resources will be in these higher level areas, except a lot of these higher level areas are hard to go at alone. And then you're kind of getting people to come along with you so that hopefully you can farm all of that end game resource, which everyone's going to want, but they might not all have the levels. It's just better to learn how to gather these resources solo so that you're not impeding on anyone else getting resources, and it feels a lot more effective and stuff like that. So I've gotten to the point where I have like runs that I want to do like at least once a day or multiple times a day for things like orichalcum, or for things like supply chests and stuff like that to get me more reagents. And that's another thing where further down the line, I'll be putting out some routes. Right now, I just feel like if you put out a video with a route, everyone does that route. No one tries to learn anything new. So I'm just holding off until more people at level 60 so I can actually give you good routes and not just routes that were good at one point. Then the issue that you run into with crafting is your gold. You can see my gold is 687. And I wish I had focused on getting gold along the way a little bit more, because I didn't feel like I needed it before, and now like I need it. Now I don't want to have to farm as many chests as I need to get all the refining reagents that I need. And sometimes it's nice to just take advantage of someone who has green wood up for like a cheap price, or aged wood, or iron ore, or azoth water. These are all things that I look for on the market, and I like to pick them up because it actually saves a ton of time. So gold becomes a little bit more of an issue. So even though you're getting all these resources, I have a ton of resources of useful things right now that I can't refine, or that I'm over refining, even though I'm gonna need them later, just because like I'm running out of space. And one of the things that could help me clear it up is getting more gold. So that's that problem of how to make gold, best way to make gold. And every video you see basically about making gold is about playing the market. Now, this sucks because I think it's actually ruining the economy on most servers, because the problem with working on the market is the way that the market works. So no matter what we look at on the market, like let's look at some things that are good for making money, right? So collecting fibers is a good way for people at lower level to make money. Right now they're at 14 cents each. Uh, Last I checked, like less than a week ago, they were 40 cents each on my server. All right. So what happens is people learn fiber is a good way to make money. So they collect their 2,000, 2,000, 7,000, 6,000, and they get on the marketplace and they undercut the last guy. All right. And constant undercutting just makes every money making thing just useless. Right. It's hard to make money for low levels because these low level things are constantly being undercut as more people are going on these farm runs and constantly undercutting one another. And so that brings me to what I think is a lot better idea to make money, which you might not be able to do on your server, depending on your level and depending on like the people you know. But basically, the big issue we see in this game is more people are spending money than money is coming into the server. So money is just kind of disappearing, and that makes it so that people need the fiber to be at 14 cents each to actually make it worth it for them to buy it. A lot of people don't have a lot of money, and if we're constantly making money off of the trading post, we're not actually introducing new money into the game, which is what the game needs. So the best way for you to make money out of nothing, late game especially, is to join all of the wars and invasions that there are around. These will give you anywhere from like 350 to 700 gold in just 30 minutes, which, you know, isn't really insane, but at least I'm bringing money into the server that wasn't there otherwise. So I haven't signed up yet, but like eventually I'll find my way to all of these areas, 6 hours and 2 minutes, and then I can do one right after the invasion, and then this is tomorrow. This one's in 5 hours, so I can do three basically in a row, which would get me almost 2k gold. Um, like I said, it isn't crazy money, but it is bringing money into the server, which is useful. It's also fun to be in a war and an invasion, as long as people are actually trying. So it's a fun way that I'm making money. And, you know, you guys can go ahead and take advantage of the trading posts and all that. I know it's not easy for everyone to get into wars and invasions, but I typically get into every one that I sign up for. So I think right now this is, you know, like I said, it's not crazy money. I know you can make more money farming rare resources and things like that, but eventually, if everyone's farming rare resources or even base resources, the price is just going to keep going down and down, and it's just not going to feel good at a certain point. So this is a way, no matter what, you know, you're getting paid a pretty set amount for the amount of time that you're investing, and you're not relying on any other people to pay you that money. That comes straight from the source, right? Other than that, once you get level 200, now you're making valuable gear that you can sell. Now, you know, once I get 200 Arcana, I can just spam a bunch of Orichalcum Fire Staves with my Azoth investment into it, which, you know, it's also easy to get Azoth when you're going to these wars that give you about 300, 350 Azoth for every event. So I can start putting Azoth into my Orichalcum stuff that I make, and then go around and sell them for multiple thousand, maybe up to 10,000 if they're perfect rolls, because this is stuff that most people haven't really gotten to get yet. So that basically brings me to the fact that you need to find what you want to get to level 200 that maybe less people are doing. For example, Arcana is something that I kind of regret doing because a lot of people, I think, are realize it's kind of easy to level up, and they're kind of focusing Arcana whether they want it for themselves or not. But something like jewel crafting, right? It's so slow to level up, that it makes it more valuable. Weaponsmithing, since it's one piece you're making over 5 for armoring, I think less people will try to get their weaponsmithing up. Furnishing is a thing that's so expensive and it takes a long time that if you have level 200 things, you'll need the recipes too. For furnishing, you'll find a lot of value in that, and you can make a ton of money like that. Unfortunately, almost everything under 500 gear score is going to be worthless. So getting to 200 is actually your goal, and then finding your niche anywhere in there is going to be huge for you. So to kind of wrap everything up, I'm seeing a lot of people farm a lot of these elite zones pretty ineffectively with multiple groups and stuff like that. So basically, I'm skipping a lot of the BS of the 500 to 600 gear score farming by just crafting my 600 gear score, hopefully. And once you get to this point, you realize there's just so much content. There's so many things that you can do. It's a crap ton of fun. It's like I was saying, it's like people say that level 60, that's the end of the game. What a waste of time. But to me, I've never felt more overwhelmed with things to do than at level 60 for the past like week. So pretty soon I plan to do a lot more videos on some of the best routes that I've been using for our orichalcum, wire fiber, elite chests, all those type of things, and then also show you the easiest progression for gear score farming, like some of the most effective ways. So you can expect all that to come. I hope this video can give you guys a better perspective on what's going to be happening at level 60 and why it's worth it to get to level 60. Let me know what you guys are doing at level 60 or what your plan is. And yeah, enjoy your day.